well. So anyway, I would like to take it away, Mr. McRay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate y'all being here. I truly appreciate your time. I remember I've been doing this full time and doing art for many years. And I remember doing art shows where like 2-3 people show up. And we had one happen where the facility accidentally double booked a memorial service for kids who had been killed in urban violence. So there's my art hanging on the wall, and then there's all these pictures on tables of kids who've been killed in like urban violence, right? And candles and sad music. But we got food for the art opening, and so we're like, so it's myself and some other artists, and we're like, what do we do? I mean, we can't tell them to leave because the facility double booked it. And they were like, oh yeah, that's right, you were doing the show and this, we had, oh my apologies. So the people who were there ate all our food, ate the food, they were like, thank you so much for having food for us. We're like, oh, we were so appreciative. And then they said, thank you for having art here for us. It really made it more uplifting. We're like, oh, you're welcome, you know. So I've seen some stuff, right? So when folks come out, there's a big crowd like we had today. I appreciate it. Really only 2-3 people showed up for our show. Everybody else just happened to be there because of the other event. So I've seen all kinds of interesting situations. So when everybody comes out and makes time to be here, I greatly appreciate it. Francis and I came over here. John's been kind enough to allow us to host us, and Mary Ann's been so wonderful. And I brought 33 pieces here into this show. And some of the work I had planned to be here, that show extended, so I had to pull for some other work and frame some new works to be here as well. And so you're seeing a range of things in a show called Diaspora Dialogues, and it's really about cultural expression and communication. The last show I had, a lady said to me, she said, you know, when I look at your work, I can hear people talking. And I was like, ooh, that really hit me. Because in every scenario, for most part, you can almost hear the person thinking, or their emotions, or actually what they possibly may be saying. And so that's really a big part of it, that everybody has their story. And part of it is my story, part of it is history, and part is memory, cultural memory. My father is from North Carolina. My father was from North Carolina. My grandfather from North Carolina and South Carolina. And we grew up in Washington, D.C. Transplant back to North Carolina, well, not back to North Carolina, to North Carolina, where my family started. And I love it here. Been here 40 years almost. So you're seeing that experience of living in the city, in the rural community, in suburbia, and pardon me.
Modern age.
That's my cousin calling me. And my nephew. So in here, you'll see all of that. I'll be glad to answer questions. We can do a Q&A, and feel free to ask. Anybody have a question? I can kind of ramble on for a few more minutes.
How about the one at the end with the apple, the red apple?
That's you, John.
Real?
No, it's not.
But
When I looked over and looked at you, I said, I guess it's you. I don't know. But dude does look like you a little bit. Yeah, he does.
Either I bite the apple and I grow my hair, I bit the apple and I lost my hair. Which one is it?
Well, you know, the apple is always that symbol of enlightenment and, kind of like a temptation and so forth. And in there, I think it was kind of, I call it the redemption of man. Mm-hmm. I think that's the title of it. Fall and redemption of man. I guess it's almost like kind of a little bit of an Adam and Eve story or reference. But then it's just this family. And sometimes I make these metaphorical kind of pieces that I don't necessarily have a very finite answer, but it kind of more so asks questions and presents ideas. And from there, I kind of leave it to the viewer to have a dialogue in that situation. And that piece I really like it a lot. And I was trying to build like complexity of foreground, middle ground, background. So you see the people here in this kind of scenario, and then gradually moving through the neighborhood and then through across the whole city. Okay. So I'm working with spatial space.
You have a lot of birds.
Yeah, I
A lot of different birds.
Yeah.
Birds and-
Yeah, we had birds when I was a kid. My mother, strange enough, she loved birds and was scared of birds. And it was really odd. And then she would, one time we had these parakeets, and she decided to clean the windows and clean the bird cages the same day. Yeah, that's the look.
Okay.
And then later on, we're like, Mom was trying to get rid of the birds. They all flew out the window today.
Oh, okay.
And then we lost all our birds today. And she's like, oh, we lost all the birds. Oh, yeah, right. And I actually made a collage about my sister and I chasing birds, right?
Pretty funny.
But the thing is that birds kind of have this representation of spirituality. And in all the ones with the doves represent the Holy Spirit. And then in others, just birds kind of have a sense of omen. Some represent life. Like in this one, I have the hummingbird in the dead center of the piece. And then you have this crow up there.
Yeah.
So, and I have butterflies a lot in the works. A lot of animals work, and a lot of chickens, strange enough. But I don't really know the full answer for every specific piece. When I'm creating my work, it's very improvisational. So I have an idea and a concept in a broad sense, and then they become more and more specific. And then I'll find elements, or I'll draw or paint or whatever, something that may fit the statements that's being that's unfolding. And so when it's all done, I go like, okay, that's what it's meant to be. And then sometimes I'm sitting there days, years later, trying to figure out, why did that happen? I have one collage of a woman's face, and around her is all these flowers. She's surrounded all these flowers. A really beautiful piece. And you don't really see much of her. You get about here, and she's just flowers. Some are abstract, some are representational. And I always thought it was a wonderful piece and never understood it. And then one day I was going through my phone and I saw an old picture of my mother when she was leaving the hospital. And she was in a wheelchair and she had all these flowers in front of her. And I realized, I was painting my mom. I didn't even know I was painting my mother. And she was sitting in all these flowers. And then when I look at the woman, she looks like my mother, like a younger version of my mother. And it never dawned on me that what was happening. And so I think to a certain point, it's a literal narrative of things I've seen, like these guys playing ball, very urban kind of experience. And some things are very much metaphorical, that it's like a mystery, like somebody went to Transformer, or this piece here, or some other pieces. And some are just kind of memories that kind of flow out of my head, out of my psyche.
And it sounds like some come out subconsciously.
Yeah, very
you don't really realize it till later.
Yeah, I don't. And then later on, I kind of may get a revelation. But art does not, for me, have a finite answer. I'm not making propaganda where I'm like, you're supposed to think this or else you're a bad person. I don't make art like that. I make art that's just an expression. And then at that point, I leave it to you to have your interpretation, like great poetry. You read it and go like, I see this, I see that. Or like you look at abstract painting. It could be a blue painting and you can see cold. He could feel water. Another person could think blueberries, who knows? It's just how that personal dialogue with the imagery. The imagery is what, the human interaction is what makes the piece alive, not just the object in itself. In itself is really just an object. It becomes then alive with the dialogue with a human being. And so that's what each of these allows. For me, I hope it's happening in every case. Whether this information, this subject is very simple or very complex. Sir, ma'am.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. I have a 10-year goal with the work. I've been doing collages since 1987. The first serious collage I did was in 87. But I've been doing off and on over that. And the last show I had collages, but I've kind of stopped easel painting. I used to do a lot of big jazz paintings, big abstract paintings. I stopped doing all of that work and focused specifically on the collages, unless I'm doing a commission work. So these are my primary body of work, my practice, and I have a 10-year goal. And I'm hoping that I'll hit those hit those goals over that period of time.
How large a collage piece have you done?
The biggest I've done completed is 3 by 3 feet.
Okay.
Other 30 by 40. I have one in my studio now that's 4 by 5 feet. And it's pretty big, and it's trying to figure out how to work on that scale. There's 3 ladies walking in kind of a rural kind of setting. Very lovely piece, very striking. My son walked in my studio, he was just like, whoa. He just kind of just hit him. He's like, wow, Dad, that's great. You know, so I'm trying to figure out how to finish that. It moves really fast and then it slows down. I'm like, okay, where is it going now? So my goal is to do a lot of bigger pieces and just figuring out how to do it successfully. So in each of these pieces, you'll see like all the ones that are under glass or plexiglass are actually on paper, canvas board, watercolor paper, illustration board, something like that. Quality materials. And then they're all done with a gel medium I use that seals the elements, and it makes them adhere where they want to fall, come apart. And then it seals it, it makes it airtight so they won't decompose. And then as well, it makes it light safe so it won't fade. And then because they're on paper, I have them under glass. Now the ones you see that are not under glass are on birch panel. So the birch panel is cradled on the back. Since it's my work, I'm gonna take it off the wall. I'll show you. So this is what the back looks like. So I put the title on the back. The expulsion of Adam and Eve from the land of the giants. You ever seen that old TV show, Land of the Giants? Came out in the 1960s. We've been looking at it on YouTube, but I was like, this guy with that big hand right there, right? Every hand was the same giant hand there, right? And so that's where these giant hands came from, right? And then I put the information on the back. The year was created, medium size, so forth, title, and then they're wired, and these on birch panel. And then otherwise they're framed and on some kind of paper or illustration board. There we go. We're good to go. And excellent. Okay. So that's how the materials actually come together. It was a curiosity about, well, how does he make these things? And people say, so do you cut up a bunch of magazines? No, it's not a bunch of magazines. You know, I use a lot of photographs. And what I'll do is photograph my own art. Or I use giclée prints or pre-printed materials, and I'll reconstruct the work. So I may say take something like, this is a piece of fabric here. And another piece, it's a piece of sandpaper. Some of this is like buildings from a print I produced, and the print got damaged, so I cut the print up, and I use elements of that print into the next work. So all of it is kind of this repurposing and reuse of material. And then I've been a full-time artist, a working artist for a long time, so what I do is, back before everything was digital, I had a lot of photographs, 35 millimeter, 4x6 photographs of everything. You photograph everything. And you have the negatives, you have hard copies. Well, now I don't need all the hard copies as much. So now I'm cutting those up and using this and using that and this. So you look at this piece here, which I love this piece, one of my favorites. And here, you will see these water lilies and stuff are from a period when I paint a lot of impressionist works. And I love painting water lilies. And so I use the water lilies from one of my own works in here. Or, figure from here, or drawing from there, or just all kind of stuff. It just runs the gambit, because I'm sketching or drawing. I've got watercolors and drawings and old collages and all kind of crap.
And you do use resource materials from books and
I use some things from books.
Encyclopedias and magazines
I'll
too.
get like we went to a library sale, bought a whole bunch of library books. So old books, and you find like good quality material, cut some stuff out of there, and find disparate things. And then at that point, when I use it in, I'll paint into it, draw on it, alter it.
Make it
Maybe
uniquely
use
your
an
own.
eye or
Yeah.
this or that, and it all comes together.
Wow.
That's the process. Conceptually, when it comes to idea, is usually I'm jumping in with a very general idea, and then it unfolds into the actual work you see. Like for example, in this piece, this is an original abstract work I created just so they can stand in front of it. That's nobody else's work, that's my work. This doesn't exist anywhere else in the universe, except I made this as original work for them to stand in front of. So I can paint abstract, or John owns like 2 or 3 of my abstract paintings. So that's how that happened. So I've got a range where I can paint representationally to non-objective abstraction in different styles of modernism. So I call this whole style a kind of a contemporary modernism. Yeah. So that's how it all happens.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Pleasure, sir. And if you find something of interest, you let us know.